Right, hello, lads and lasses, and welcome back to Boys Down Under. And as you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about two different things today. Mainly because I don't really want to be talking about that match for a whole 12 minutes or so, so I'm sure you can understand, but that's how the video is going to go today. So, before we go any further though, please remember to like the video and subscribe to the channel. The best way to help support the channel grow leading up to Christmas, and it would be a great, Christmas present for me, I guess you could say, if you hit that subscribe button. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, the only really excuse I could think of this morning for the players was that they're still hungover from the celebrations of the League Cup final. But in all seriousness, I'm extremely frustrated. I was extremely frustrated watching it, and yes, plaudits to, the Saints goalkeeper. He did have a blinder of a match. However, when you are taking a shot on goal, the first thing you have to do, the main thing you have to do is to take the keeper out of the equation. And none of our shots did that, quite obviously. And we were too complacent in front of the net, and we paid the price for it. And, it seems so easy when you have 84% possession and, upwards of 10 shots on target that it should be almost guaranteed you have a goal by that point, It's not even like, we had a game against Livingston where we can't even get a shot on goal. We had more than enough chances that match to take the win. And look, I think it was a great opportunity for 3 points, and it was it was like, you head down to the pub, you got the Wednesday night special on offer, yet you still take the steak and chips. That probably makes no sense, but you get the idea. We had 3 points on a platter, yet we still went for a draw. And look, I've seen on social media, a lot of hate directed at players such as Abada, such as Mikey Johnston. And while I don't condone this, online abuse of these players, I can understand where the frustration is coming from. Personally, very, very frustrated with both of them. Neither were good tonight. Neither played at a level that is of Celtic standard. And it just shows, the lack of depth in Celtic's squad. Because if we have, Kyogo up front tonight, we score 3 or 4 goals, I'd say. I'd say there's 3 or 4 goals, 3 or 4 opportunities tonight, which if Kyogo was on the end of it, he'd put it past the keeper without a doubt. We would be laughing, And I think it's a quality that players like Abada, players like Johnson don't have. They don't have an end product, It's all good and well that Mikey Johnson can beat 3 or 4 players with a couple stepovers and, elasticos and whatnot. However, if he can't score a goal, nor can he assist someone, then what's the use of doing those skills? It's frustrating. It's really frustrating because they're both players, they're both young, they've both got abundance of talent, but performances like this aren't showing Ange and aren't showing Celtic a reason to keep them. It's more or less showing a reason to sell them off and, or give them loan time away from the club. But look, we need quality depth, and all this match really did, it was highlighted stuff we already know about Celtic. When we don't play Kyogo, when we don't have Jota, our attack hinders. The Ross County game, we got away with murder. We somehow scraped it at the death. Tonight, we were not so lucky. Obviously, it's not the end of the world. However, I'll get onto that in a sec, but it's just really frustrating, I'm not really mad. If anything, I'm disappointed. I'm frustrated because that Celtic team has more than enough quality to score goals against a team of youth products. And it's full respect to St Mirren because you know what? They were resilient in the end. They got what they got a great result for themselves. But, it's just really disappointing from a Celtic fan's perspective. But look, at the end of the day, am I going to be pissed off for the rest of the day? Yes. Am I going to be pissed off tomorrow? Maybe a bit. I'll be still disappointed a bit, but I don't think it will play on me that much. Am I going to be pissed off the day after? Of course not. It's Christmas. So what I'm trying to say is that while the result may be very frustrating and we all may be a bit down, especially after, the League Cup win, it could have capped off a perfect week with a win tonight. However, it wasn't meant to be. In the grand scheme of things, which is winning the league, that is the ultimate goal. That is the grand scheme. We are not really... Look, we are in a worse off position. But are we in that much of a worse off position? No, not really. Let me explain. We're 6 points behind top spot. Alright? What that means is that Rangers would have to lose a match, would have to lose 2 matches, Celtic would have to win 2 matches, make up that difference. But the thing is that it's no different to what was originally happening. We were 4 points behind Rangers. We would still need 2 separate matches to go our way for us to leapfrog them. And the fact we're on higher goal difference than Rangers, albeit it's 1 point and it could change, anything could happen. If Rangers lose, let's say, one of their matches before the derby, then Celtic go on and win the derby, instantly we've already made up the points. It's not the end of the world. It's still only, 2 games are separating, 2 wins, 6 points are separating Celtic between Rangers. And it's disappointing, it's frustrating, but it's not the end of the world. It's not the be-all, end-all. Obviously, a lot of things can change, but that is what I'm trying to say here. Now, moving on into the second half of the video, the winter break has been postponed. I said that very wrong. The winter break has been moved forward, resulting in a lot of matches being postponed. That sounds a lot bloody better. So, well, how does this affect Celtic? Now, the St Johnstone clash on Boxing Day, which Celtic will play away, is still going ahead. That will still go ahead and we'll still have 500 fans at the game. So basically behind closed doors. Then, the winter break has been brought forward to after Boxing Day. So, what that means for Celtic is that we have 2 games postponed, the Hibs match at home, then the Glasgow derby at home. But when have they been moved to? So Celtic's clash against Hibs is now scheduled for the 18th of January at 6:45 a.m. here in Sydney. As for Glasgow, it's on the 17th of January at 7:45 p.m. Then the derby has been pushed back a whole month and is scheduled for the 3rd of February at 6:45 a.m. here in Sydney, and the 2nd of February at 7:45 p.m. in Glasgow, and will be shown on Sky Sports, which means we're 99% getting it on beIN Sports or KO down here in Australia. But how does this affect Celtic? Well, there's a lot of positives, but there's also a few negatives. So the first positive is that it allows for all our injured lads to regain full fitness. I'm talking about Jota, Turnbull, Georgios Giacomakis, Kyogo, Julian, Forrest, which is a positive. That's a major positive. We need all those players back for that back end of the season, not just the derby, but for all the matches for the rest of the season. Even Giacomakis, who has divided support since his arrival, not being the biggest fan of him, I must say, but still, we could have done with someone like him against St Mirren. He would have probably put 2 or 3 past them. We could have done with a proper striker, but is what it is. We still need depth. Secondly, it provides the chance for Scotland to get Omicron under control and to allow for full capacity crowds or near full capacity crowds back when the winter break has ended, especially for the Glasgow derby, where, as we all know, having a 12th man, having the crowd there is basically like a 12th man. It just provides it's such a difference maker in the whole match. We all know it's true. And if we were going into that match without any fans, it'd certainly hinder Celtic's opportunities at winning. Thirdly, it gives Celtic 18 days from the start of our window to the first match in January, which is the Hibs match. It gives us a chance to bring in all our summer signings and get them up to speed for that match. And I'm talking about Reo Hatate, Daisen Maeda, Yasuki Itaguchi. These 3 players, and I'm sure there was many more Andrew's got his eyes on. We need to bring them in ASAP in January because we need quality footballers and we need reinforcements. So another positive of this break being moved forward is that we can bring in reinforcements and have them up to speed for the rest of the season, because we need depth, and that is my Christmas wish list for Celtic. We bring in quality depth into this team. However, there are a few minor negatives from this match, and there's going to be a lot of fixture congestion. At the start of February, the derby is the third match of 1 week for Celtic. It includes that week includes a home match against Hearts and a home match against Dundee United. So by no means is that going to be an easy week for Celtic. It's going to be really trying and testing on the players, and it's another reason as to why we need to bring in players in January. Depth, and also have our injured players return from injury. But here's the main issue and negative, is that the Asian World Cup qualifiers are going to be on during that hectic week for Celtic. So that means if we sign all 3 Japanese players, plus Kyogo, plus Rogic, if all 5 of them are called up to their national teams, we're going to be missing them all for that whole week, and that's just going to absolutely mess with Celtic completely. You know, obviously there's been some rumours that the Japanese coach isn't going to call up any players from abroad, only domestic players, and also it's going to be very dependent on the situation with Omicron. But look, at the end of the day, we're going to have to just play this day by day and see closer to the time whether the Japanese manager and Graham Arnold call up Tom Rogic and call up our Japanese players, because if we lose them, it could really be really detrimental to our results and to the rest of the season. The other negative, and I think the most important one, is that I'm no longer on holidays, which means I'm actually at school when the Glasgow Derby's on, so I don't get to watch it on a weekend night at a reasonable time. I'm watching it at a very unreasonable time on my way to school. But we've got to compensate here. Would I sacrifice a bit of sleep and at a reasonable time of watching it, and to be able to watch it with my dad for a greater chance of having, you know, all our new signings available, having all our injured players uninjured and fit and ready to go, and a near capacity or full crowd at Celtic Park? Of course I bloody would. I'm not going to ask myself stupid questions. But that is all from me. So remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Really disappointed about the result against St Mirren, but we move on. The league is a marathon, not a sprint. It's a very old saying, however. We've got ages to make up those points and ages for Rangers to drop points. Also with the postponement of the SPFL, very happy to see that. It was the sensible decision, and I'm glad common sense prevailed. And until next time, hail, hail.